Hi, I'm Richie Mackay.
And I'm David Holt, and you are listening to the Wrong Bias Podcast.
And as a Brucie Bonus, here is a preview of the forthcoming UK Open.
Right, on today's show, we've got Mr. Parkinson and Mr. Gale, namely Jason and Martin from the WBT. We've got the UK Open happening at Stanley Indoor Bowling Club at the end of March. So we're doing a little bit of a preview show. And who better to have on than the two guys who's going to be running about left, right and centre on the day to make sure it goes smoothly. Welcome to the show, Martin and Jason.
Yeah, cheers very much, Davey. Nice to be on for the first time.
Great to have you.
Oh yeah, he's a podcast virgin, isn't he? Wow.
Oh, it's Martin's debut.
Virgin and a veteran we've got today. So
it's a bit harsh.
So let's get straight into it then. Looking from the outside, what a fantastic positive response you've had for entries to the competition.
Yeah, it's been really good, Davey, really. We've got 4 overseas countries have accepted their invite, which makes it a universal championships, as well as having the opportunity to have 11 qualifiers from the UK, and the PBA members have really, really supported that. The 3 days prior to the actual UK Open with the qualifiers will be a great event, and there's some fantastic bowlers coming up.
Yeah, I think like Martin just says there, just to add, when you look at it kind of like late in the day, it's great that people are actually showing an interest in, not only are we trying to move things forward, that we're actually trying to listen to what people want and actually try something. You can only keep trying things, can't you? Sometimes, you try something and you might need to make a little bit of a change at the end of it, but we've given it a go. We've been listening. Here we are, just literally just a couple of weeks away and everything's in place. Thank goodness.
We've been asking for years and years and years for something different. The situation that it currently is at the moment with the competitions that are available is not enough in the real world to run a ranking list. If we're completely honest, so if you don't try this thing, yes, it's been short notice. Yes, there may be things go wrong, but I think there'll be a heck of a lot of things go really, really right, because from the outside things are looking great. But if you don't try these things and learn from them and build from them, you're never ever going to attract more and more potential sponsors for the future or introduce more competitions going forward.
Yeah, I completely agree with that. It's been difficult. Last few years, we've lost a couple of events due to COVID and venues closing down, really, trying to find new places. Stanley's an ideal venue that we can use. It's got probably one of the best carpets in the UK. We've got the opportunity to have a stand down to one side, permanent stand, where hopefully we'll be able to attract quite a lot of local supporters coming in. Be nice to see the place rocking throughout the day. As I say, we've got 16 out of the top 17 WBT ranked bowlers being there. So it should be a really, really good event.
Have you had any dropouts in the qualifiers?
We kind of capped it at 122, with us having to build the set, if you wish, early on. Stanley has got 7 rinks as it is at the moment. For the qualifiers, we turn that into 6 rinks. For the main event, we turn the 6 rinks into 4 rinks. Obviously, slightly wider than what they normally are. So we had 122. Obviously, we're fully aware that there's various things going on in people's lives. There's some English nationals going on at the moment. We did try and look at the dates and try and maximise where we're not having all these kind of like crossovers, if you wish. Obviously, with nationals, they obviously last an awful lot longer than our events. What we didn't want to do is kind of like end up for the singles, for example, trying to say to people, right, you're either playing this or you're playing that. That's not what we want to do. So, yeah, people are qualifying in various different things. The family pairs is going on, for example. It's great to win a national title, but winning it with a family member must be quite special. So, yeah, we had 122. We've had roughly about 10 or 11 drop out for one thing or another, which I always expect that. And that's been not just for this event, that's been the same for every single qualifier that we've run this season. Out of all 8 qualifiers, filled every single spot. and I've got someone on the waiting list as well for one of the days. So yeah, it's been a great uptake. Again, it just shows you how we listened when we first went for the qualifiers. It was originally planned to be slightly different. We listened to the feedback and we took that on board, and we made the change very quickly. And I think it was quite well received by a lot of people as well. That allowed people to not only enter, but to minimise time taken off work, which we have to appreciate as well with it being midweek. But yeah, it's great. Yet again, people supporting the PBA qualifiers. You know, I said on a previous podcast, the one thing I asked from players this year was just support. Give us 2 years. You know, give us 2 years of your support. Give us 2 years of your trust. Let's see what we can do. And we're actually, you know, hopefully leading the way forward now. We're in talks with something else as well. I just don't think sometimes people appreciate the amount of work that goes into running an event, if you wish. People think it just happens sometimes.
I agree with that as well, Jason. There is a lot of people out there do think these things just happen, and ultimately, you know, those out there who have run open single circuit competitions or whatever competitions that they run in the club. I was saying earlier on, things will go wrong, but they won't go wrong in a major way. Ultimately, it is a competition of games of balls that basically just needs to get down to a winner. And there will just be things that I think you will certainly, yourselves as an organisation, will learn on through the competition. I've got no doubt you'll probably identify things that you'll turn around and say, for next year, this could work so much better, or for, you know, maybe we've done something this year that just isn't working the way we would like it to. So it's a learning thing for everybody, but the way you have dealt with the feedback and made those changes, so that I can understand a little bit of people's initial frustrations where they're saying I could potentially have to take a week off work because I don't know whether I'm going to get through round 1, round 2, round 3 if it was over a longer period. So the fact that you've condensed it into, you know, smaller pockets on single days where people can just say, right, I just need that day off from work. I can go back to work if I need to. If I qualify, it's a fantastic bonus. I go back on the Thursday and continue to crack on after that. So, you know, huge credit to yourselves. And I think another exciting part of it, and I'll let you expand on that as well, is obviously just the change of how you're going to go about each round as well. So once you've qualified, so you know, as you've qualified and you win your round, it isn't just a case of you just then slot into a position on a board. It changes round by round. Is that right?
Yeah, that's right, David. We have done the initial draw for the first round, and that needs to be published. We will get that out onto the platform somewhere, probably onto the PBA website. We're having a little issue with the WBT website at the moment, so we'll get that issued onto the PBA website. But then, as you say, rather than have the draw predetermined all the way through, we're going to do a bit like the UK Open in darts, where after each round, a ball will be picked out, and that will be the draw for the next round. So it's an open draw from the round 2 onwards. We're going to do it slightly different than the UK Open, where they get 2 professionals up onto the stage to do it. We're going to ask the player themselves to pick their own ball out of the bag at the end of each game, so we can then work out a schedule for the following day.
Did you ever think about doing that for the original draw?
For this one at the moment, we've drawn the top 16 players on one side of the draw, and then we drew a player out against the top 16. It didn't matter what order the top 16 were there. We just placed them down on the left-hand side of the draw, Richie, so that, you know, they were there. So basically, ball 1 came out drawn against Nick Brett, who's current number 1 at the end of last year. The ranking list will change after the World Championships and after this event, but we go off the ranking list at the end of last year. So Nick Brett drew the first player out. Then we went to Stuart Anderson down the top 16 in that order. So, to be honest, it didn't matter for the first round draw how they came out. A ball was drawn out against the player. In future, possibilities there could be for other tournaments, if we get other tournaments, the opportunity to just have a different draw. That is something that's been muted. It's something that's been looked at, you know, and maybe not have the top 16 on one side and just reduce it down on the numbers. But again, you've got to look at what sponsors, you know, will sponsors put money in if they don't think the top 16 will get through. Don't know of any other organisation where they basically have seeds playing against each other in the first round of a competition.
Well, I think it's a good idea what you're trialling, isn't it? if it doesn't work, it doesn't work. Like you said before, Shy Bairn's getting out. Question here that you mightn't want to answer, prize money. Are you going to answer what the prize money is for the actual main event, or is that under wraps?
No, I wouldn't say it's under wraps. First prize for this tournament is £2,000. We haven't got a lot of sponsorship. It's been run on a very, very small budget. And at the moment, we're going to use all the sponsorship money up in prize money for this event. There's nothing going back into the WBT whatsoever. In fact, there's probably money coming out of the PBA and the WBT to assist with this event for this time. But we need to get another event out there. So if we can get another event out there, and we get sponsors looking at this event and seeing how we're changing. I'm not going to say this is a test event, but it is a test event. If this works and this format works, what's to say that next year we can't go to another venue in Wales or a venue in Scotland and use multiple rinks and play the whole event over 3 days? That reduces, as Davey said earlier on, it reduces the amount of time that people need to take off work. It reduces the overall costs of taking in venues for, we're only looking at a venue for 3 days instead of looking at a venue for 12 or 14 days, which is what it is for the Scottish Open at Perth. Hopefully this event goes really, really, really well. Sponsors look at it and think, I like that, and they start backing us.
Just touching back on what Richie was saying about the top 16 in the first round, there has got to be that benefit for the top 16, because there's got to be that benefit for that top 16 to at least be placed there and not be drawn against each other, and at least get a qualifier to then give not only the qualifiers the incentive to try and get there, but then the top 16 to keep driving the sport forward as well. So for me, I personally don't mind the fact that it's the top 16 drawn out in the first, but then I think it's a great opportunity then after that, where you could potentially, if you get two people knock a seed out, they could play each other in the next round, which is great, because then you're going to get a non-seed who could potentially get to the quarters, semi-finals.
This event came from the qualifiers that we run at Stanley for the World Championships, because you guys came in and streamed those qualifiers, and I think Jason will back me up on this, that you had fantastic viewing, and it just opened up a new avenue into the way that we can run events and the way that we can stream events, rather than using maybe big media companies using our Facebook page and our YouTube page, and you guys did a great job for us in October when we were up there for the weekend for the qualifiers, and this tournament has bounced off the back of that.
Just looking at the draw, I've picked out the group of death Wednesdays. Mark Bonetti in honour, Darren Weir, Paul Hartley, Claire Anderson, Pat Briscoe, James Rippey, Anthony Bood Young, and Sean Jones. Group of deaths, mate, that one.
Who are they? Who are they again?
Who are they? Who are they? Don't know, you'll have to point them out to us. But I do think, mind you, on a serious note, with it being away from Potters, the atmosphere might be a little bit different for the qualifiers. And I'm going to predict here and now, put my neck on the line, that a qualifier will win this event. There you go. There you go. Wow. You heard it first here.
Who do you think he is?
So congratulations, Jason Parkinson.
It's either Mystic Meg or Septic Peg. It's one of the two. He'll be wrong. He always is.
Do you not think it'll not be as intimidating for a qualifier to play up at Stanley than it would be to play in front of the stands at Potters? Or
I agree with you. I think the whole situation and the whole surroundings at Potters scares people. And I think sometimes that's why 90% of them don't get through the first round. They always seem to do better the second attempt. Go in when you already know what to expect, how it works, which is why this year when people were arriving, we were trying to make the whole experience of arriving a bit more less formal, a bit more friendly, a bit more open. And I think it worked quite well.
I think it might be a little bit less intimidating as well, because you're going to have 4 rinks in operation for virtually the whole tournament, apart from the semi-finals and the final.
Yeah, and at that point, though, you're going to have embedded yourself in the competition, aren't you? So you're gonna hear noise from the crowd regardless where you are on the green. But once you get encompassed in that, by the time you get to semi-final, final, if you are a qualifier, I don't think that's going to faze you. But I think the key for me, potentially, you are going to be able to play some of the balls that a lot of bowlers out there like to play, which is that constructive timing ball, which Potter's portable rink sometimes doesn't allow you to play. And I think that's going to be interesting. And I don't know whether that was found at Blackpool when you had the International Open, you were actually on a bowling green itself rather than the portable. Was the style of games a little bit different?
I think the interesting thing about Blackpool, David, was they boarded down the sides. You know, Blackpool only had a 3-ring green that it was played on. They boarded down the sides on rinks 1 and rinks 3 to put the stands in. And that actually changed the whole characteristics of the way that rink 2 played. So because the green was stretched, as it were, with the boards going down, rink 2 didn't play exactly the same during the event as what it did when the members were going and playing there. But the other big thing about this tournament, of course, is people are going to be using their own bowls.
Blue balls with blue stickers, Jason, I'm led to believe.
Yeah.
Oh, my goodness. I mean...
Camouflage balls, so you can't see them to take them out. That's what it is.
I've had many a laugh about that. You know, that's something else you quickly listen to. You know, my original thinking on that was obviously, you know, when we plan these events, yes, it's mainly for the bowlers, but you have to also just consider spectators and people viewing via a stream. Now, you know, we have an awful lot of people kindly give us some advice regarding colours and that for, you know, visually impaired players, which changes, you know, it changes from year to year as different technologies coming in, things like that. So the whole idea, I thought, well, we're dropping, you know, say, well, you have to play with this colour if you're in this position, to you can play with absolutely anything you've got. Please try and refrain from playing with blue against the blue carpet. My madness in that, or my theory, if you wish, was just to help those visually impaired just identify the bowl better. However, like anything in bowls, it kicked up a Blue Bowls Matters campaign. And, you know, I got an awful lot of feedback from that, you know. So we took it on board and, okay, we'll run with it. We may get the flip side of that when the event happens. But again, that's something I'll be keeping a very, very close eye on. We've tried it. It might come back to bite me. It might come back to be the actual right thing. We'll see. And we'll change it. You know, if it's not quite right, we'll change it. Having qualified a few times myself, you sometimes say, well, if it's your first time, or whether maybe you're going to qualify 3 or 4 times in your life, for those players that have, some players that have an identity, let's call it, don't they, like the darts, you know, a bit of a nickname that we use sometimes, or an identity. This will allow that player for this event to have their identity, if you wish. So a bit more of the snazzy shirt. Some of the team, hence like Drakes and Taylors, that are having specialist shirts made, especially for this event, are exactly the vision I had in my head. It'd be very interesting to see the difference in atmosphere for this event. You know, obviously for licensing, they're allowed to have drinks in the stand. That's fantastic, as long as they don't start throwing them. We're going to trial a bit of music to see, get rid of that sterile hospital environment, if you wish. See, that just allows the player maybe just to lift themselves. I think it came up, I'm not sure if you were there, David. I think one of the questions at Potters was, do we think the players themselves can help lift this dead atmosphere? Yes, I believe they can. Some of them already do it, don't they, and do it quite well. I think Les Gillett's comes to mind straight away. But I think if you just somehow created that slightly better, less sterile atmosphere, I think the players might feel a little bit kind of like more willing to do that. And I think the other big thing that I'd like to see this time, because we've got the multiple games going on, is the shot clock going. There'll be no shot clock for this event. We had a chat this weekend in Belfast, actually, one of the top 16, when he actually asked Martin and I's opinion on the shot clock. Do we think it's had its day, kind of a thing? My own personal opinion is I think it has. It was when it was brought into the sport, some players were a lot slower, you know, than they are now. I don't think at the moment the shot clock, whether we have it or not, would change anything at the moment, apart from we won't see players dashing up and down green, you know, trying to lob a ball within 3 seconds. That might help. I might be completely wrong, but having that relaxed atmosphere, might think, well, I'll just have a quick 5 minutes flirt with the crowd here, or a bit of banter with the crowd for 5 seconds or something, because I'm not panicking on this clock ticking down. Who knows? Who knows?
If the shot clock's gone, are you still restricting the number of visits to the head? Because one of me pet hates is slow player. when you sort of like you can see players doing the Fred Astaire's round the head, saying, "Oh, well, I'm going to play," and you know which shot they're going to play. That to me is the one turn off for a spectator. If the game's not flowing, I think people are just bored and walk out.
Normally, it's players will only be allowed to visit their header after they've played their third bowl, unless they approach the marker as to whether they can go up and see. There will be a situation in place where players will have to ask, can they go up after their second bowl, and be able to go up after their third bowl, which is normal. But we don't expect the length of times to be any different. As Jason's referred to the shot clock there, it was brought in. It was discussed with a number of outside stakeholders when it was brought in. If we decided to look at whether we keep it in the future for other events, we'd have to then go back to all those stakeholders that wanted it as well.
So it's free entry Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and it's £2 all day for Thursday, Friday, Saturday. Is that correct?
Yep, that's correct. So, it's great for the local people. And I know there's people, I was in Daventry a couple of weeks ago, and people were asking, what we're saying to people is, obviously, it's only £2. You don't have to book tickets. You can just turn up and pay on the door. What we are aware of, though, obviously, if you're travelling long distance, and you think, well, I don't want to risk it because I can't book a ticket. I don't want to risk going all that way, get there to be turned away. If you are travelling, a fair distance, if you'd like to ring the club at Stanley there and speak to Lynn, the manager, and just say how many tickets you want, they'll put tickets on the door for you, so you'll be guaranteed to get in whilst doing the travelling. We're quite aware of that. We've also provided, I think it was 200 free tickets for the club to give out to some of the local key workers there, especially the NHS staff, local care homes and things like that, in that area. Should they want to just finally get out and actually start living a little bit, if you wish, now you can. And also, it's just as a thank you as well to those key workers and the NHS. And also on the back of that, let's face it, it is also a shameful plug, because let's face it, if people come in, even if it's for the very, very first time, who knows if the club can also maybe gain something from that and, gain some membership and think, well, fair enough, isn't it? We're very keen, obviously, to help clubs, especially the indoor clubs that have been shut for a while. The PBA qualifiers, Monday to Wednesday, some top class bowls. That's on from 8:45. A few finals just after lunch for some groups, and then there's another lot of sessions where you have another couple of finals starting round about 8:30, 9 o'clock. Depends on how we keep to time. Whilst we're on as well, once again, a massive thanks to you both. I know you've agreed to stream it again for us, so a huge thank you for that. Like Martin said, this has come off the back of what you've done for us. So a huge thank you for that. And then obviously we're going to snap over to the main event. As we get nearer the time, it's hard to publish what's going to be on the show ring at the moment, because obviously we're waiting for certain group winners. So once we know nearer the time for the PBAs, we'll obviously announce who you guys will be showing. We'll get your dodgy music on there. We'll fill you up with coffee and some Ovaltine for Richie. Sat in the chair for 14 hours. But a massive thanks. There's a lot of, there's probably 7 or 8 games for people to see Monday to Wednesday, and then 4 games Thursday, 4 games Friday, 3 games on the Sunday. And the local people, £2 to see some of the best players in the world. Yeah. I mean, you can't moan at that, can you?
Well, I mean, just asking the people from the northeast just to support the event, because, like you said, Jason, it's very rare that they do now get a chance to see the top players, because obviously with the home international series that used to take place at Stanley, not being taken there for a few years. This is the opportunity to see the people that you watch on the telly, and also possibly some local lads taking on the big boys.
Well, yeah, exactly. It's quite central in the country, whether you live, on the south coast, whether you live very, very high up in Scotland. Geographically, it's quite central. And
there was a Stewart inquiry where you put that red dot on the map.
I purposely put that, for that town. I can't remember the name of the town now, but that is supposed to be the most centrally located town, north to south, because I've got to say there's east and west, but north to south, the central place in the country. And as you can see, Stanley wasn't far from that point at all. And for Stanley Indoor Bowls Club, it is not far from Durham, because again, I got a few comments because I didn't type the address, the postcode, the phone number, and the menu. And it's strange. You can just type in Stanley Indoor Bowls Club, and it will give you all the information you need. I did get quite a battering for that because I didn't put the postcode on, but by the time someone had typed the complaint, but they could have just typed it into Google Maps and found where it was. But yeah, it's fantastic, and just like to thank everybody again just for showing support in this event. Any questions? Martin and I and the rest of the board members were scattered all around the UK. We're in all 4 countries, let's say. So just tap up one of the World Bowl Tour directors, and if you want to get involved, we're always looking for new things. If there's a business out there and you want to get involved, let's chat. We have some new corporate packages and things like that. We're very, very keen to try new things. We can always have a chat and take things from there. I just want the players to get behind this and the supporters to get behind this. It's very easy to type in negative, I think, isn't it? But just get in touch with us, really, rather than just put some off-the-cuff remark on Facebook, which doesn't really achieve anything. Just get in touch with us and let's have a chat.
I hope it all goes well for you, and I can only pat you all on the back for the work that you're doing to promote the sport. I think it's great. And if you can't get to Stanley in person, you can follow all the live action. The Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday will be live streamed to the Wrong Bias Podcast Facebook page and YouTube channel. Then the Thursday, Friday, Saturday will be streamed to the WBT Facebook page and YouTube channel.
Thank you for listening and hope you've enjoyed the show.
This has been a Dodgy production.